Is the Arizona Cardinals season saved, or is the inevitable just delayed? It's another edition of Southwest Bias.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
As always, brought to you by our friends over at Branded Bills. Make sure you elevate your brand with Branded Bills. I'm wearing mine right now. Bo Brack is Branded Bills less, but not for long. Not for more than like a day at a time. I'm always seeing you in your Branded Bills hat. Make sure you use code PHNX for 20% off your order. And of course, we're coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Make sure you join the Inner Circle for free. Today, Bo, massive Monday night win for the Arizona Cardinals, 17-15 over the Los Angeles Chargers, and who knows who catching the football from Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
But Cardinals now 3-4 on the season. We went into this week saying this is a must-win for Jonathon Gannon. Then this is a must-get-right for this Cardinals offense. One of those things happened, which was the win. Let's focus on that first. Season saved?
Yes, no doubt about it. I mean, you were staring down the barrel of another irrelevant season for the Arizona Cardinals. As far as 2-5, that's pretty much hitting the point of no return. I mean, you go 2-5, you're scratching and clawing your way back to 500 the rest of the way of the season. And look, it's a tough start. It's been a gauntlet start for this team. And I think they played on Monday night. They took advantage of a team that kind of fights in their own weight class. Like when you look pound for pound at the Chargers roster versus the Cardinals roster, you saw flaws all up and down the board. But for the Arizona Cardinals at home to take care of business, and it looked different than we expected.
Right.
You know, you asked about the offense getting back on track. The more important thing was to get out of there with a dub. It was March Madness. It was survive and advance and then continue to try to find a way with this offense, because that's your path, to even further relevancy. But right now, this keeps you kind of in the thick of things, especially in just a down NFC West here in 2024.
Well, and that's kind of the main thing, right? The NFC West is ripe for the taking, and this is the second game where you could actually breathe this season. Of course, the second game of the season, Los Angeles Rams, where you look at somebody fighting in a similar weight class.
That's official.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, Arizona has always owned LA. That's, never been a question. But that being the biggest win of the season was, of course, when they fought somebody in their own similar weight class. The 49ers, a little bit of a different story, but you are 2-0 in the NFC West so far. Every other game that you've played this season has been against a very, very hard opponent, including the one that was predicted to be easier, the Washington Commanders, who find themselves at 5-2. So you finally take care of business. You're 3-4 on the season. It's ugly, but now you take on Dolphins, Bears, Jets. 3 winnable games before you face an NFC West opponent in the Seahawks again, who are leading the NFC West, but not with some incredible record.
Yeah.
You can realistically see the path for the Arizona Cardinals. A week ago, it was so dark.
Right.
And now, as sports tend to do, the pendulum is swinging the other way.
Look, I mean, this is continue going to be like, you got to find the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road, the path of least resistance, is going to be the offense finding a way. So far, it hasn't shown its ability to do that, to consistently put up points. And Monday night was just another example of things looking too hard for Kyler Murray and his top playmaker and Marvin Harrison Jr. Just 3 catches for 21 yards. 1 catch from Michael Wilson. Like, you're not hitting your playmakers nearly enough. But they did find a way, and they do provide themselves another opportunity to go up against a Miami team that is going to look to get back on track after not having Tua for so many weeks and just been a brutal watch on the offensive side of the football. So, like, you look at this next stretch, like we talk about fighting in the same weight class. I think like Miami offensively with Tua in the fold, we'll see if he can just knock the rust right off against this Cardinals defense.
I think if he knocks it off too hard, he's going to get another concussion.
Easy there. But yeah, I mean, I think
wear a guardian cap, bro.
The opportunities are there, right? You've got a 2-5 Jets team in that stretch. You've got a Bears team that's taking advantage of a weak schedule. So the Arizona Cardinals, they're like, can they get through this and go into the bye week right around 4-6, 5-5? I think that's pretty ideal. Best case scenario, of course, is 6-4.
That's going to be a little bit of a stretch because we just haven't seen the team consistently put together full game on both sides of the ball. And we kind of expected that, but in the opposite way of what's actually been happening. You say the path of least resistance, the yellow brick road is the offense figuring it out. And I think in a vacuum, because it has the most talent, right? But also at the end of the day, That's not been the case with this team. And it's been a Marvin Harrison problem. It's been a Kyler problem. But I think the top of the umbrella comes to Drew Petzing. Is it as simple as Drew Petzing is what's holding back the Arizona Cardinals offense? Because they got in their own way quite a bit last night, and they were able to pull out a win thanks to some massive plays. Of course, another 40-plus yard touchdown run from Kyler, James Conner making magic happen at the very end. But they were not their own best friend offensively yesterday.
Look, and the Chargers play a pretty heavy dose of shell, right? And their number one game plan defensively is take away the deep pass and force you to run the football. And the Arizona Cardinals obliged there on the ladder. Like, they ran the football to the tune of over 180 yards on the ground, and James Conner was just a madman. And then, of course, he had that big 33-yard set up the game-winning field goal to walk off the Chargers there in crunch time. But look, I mean, it's a mix. And I'm going to say something polarizing here, like,
ooh,
and it shouldn't be. Like, you're not making a switch at the offensive coordinator position.
No, you think no chance?
No, I don't think there's any chance. I do think that there was the ability for Drew Petzing to right some of his wrongs. Look, putting the ball in Clayton Tune's hands, not once, but twice on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, on whatever it's called, a tush push. We'll call it something different because it doesn't even deserve that much credit. Like, it was what some would deem a fireable offense. Drew Petzing had to make good for that. That was a disastrous decision. The Arizona Cardinals offense, like, it was just good enough to squeak that one out. Drew Petzing needs to take a long look at himself and figure out how he can fix and tweak this offense to get this passing attack on board into like the modern day, as far as Kyler Murray being able to utilize his outside weapons in Wilson and MHJ outside of just having Trey McBride, and that's it.
Well, that's the problem, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with all of this. James Conner was your leading receiver yesterday, 2 receptions with 51 yards. Yeah. That shouldn't be happening. We saw what Marvin Harrison Jr. can do. We've seen it with our eyes, not just in college, but yes, at an NFL level. Like I mentioned, that week 2 against the Rams, he just exploded, right? But you think back to that day, and a lot of that was just Marvin Kyler making it happen. Right?
Sure.
Making plays. So my question is, you say no chance they make a change. Mm-hmm. How bad does it have to get? Because if you're in winnable games,
that's a sad reality.
If they lost, which last night, which is completely on the table, they 100% could have lost.
Yeah,
and it could have been a lot worse too if the Chargers were able to actually capitalize on being in the red zone and not fumbling and whatever. Right? Could have been a lot worse.
Could have.
You're 2-5 on the season, which I know we're playing in a reality that's not there.
I don't like this hypothetical.
But what I'm saying is, if your offense doesn't get right against Miami or Chicago, and I know the Jets have a good defense, but still, like if you're going into that bye week and your offense is costing you to win games and your defense is overperforming the talent that they have so drastically, at what point do you unhandcuff yourself? If he doesn't adjust and change and things don't get better, at what point are you doing damage to Marvin Harrison Jr.'s confidence? We've seen what Kyler's been like in an offensive system he doesn't believe in. Is there any point to you, Bo, where it's just enough is enough, or are you riding it out with Drew Petzing for the rest of the season?
Well, there's the thing, right? What you said as far as Kyler Murray in an offense he doesn't believe in. He believes in this offense. He does. And we've talked to Michael Wilson, who joins us all the time on PHNX Cardinals throughout the season. He's of the strong belief that at some point it's going to click for Marvin Harrison Jr. He thinks that they're close. So it's like, do you have the luxury of time now on the fly in this season? No, you don't. And with those 2 tough defenses between the Bears and the Jets, just a week away, it's going to be really, really tough. You put up 17 points against the team that surrenders the least amount of points in the league. I mean, you scored more than 14 points for the first time, or, what was it, 3 out of the 4 weeks previous that you didn't do that. So there's incremental progress, but I understand not enough to keep this fan base to put down their pitchforks for Drew Petzing. But look,
especially when you're promised Marvin Harrison Jr. and you don't get Marvin Harrison Jr. except for 1 out of 7 weeks.
You look around the league and you got Malik Neighbors, who's averaging 13 targets a game. That's the thing. I think that they need to do like that Rams game and emphasize Marvin Harrison Jr. in the game plan and really just kind of lean on him early in games to just see if they can get that connection going. You obviously work PHNX Suns. You see a lot of hoops. what happens when you've got a good shooter and what's the best way to get him in the rhythm? Maybe get him to the free throw line, just get him a couple layups and get him into that rhythm because
build
we're not
the confidence.
Yeah, build the confidence. Absolutely. Like early in that game we saw on Monday night, early couple drives, I think it was the second drive, there was a missed catch by James Conner and then missed catch from Greg Dortch. 2 plays that I think you could probably put Marv in a similar situation. You probably have different results and you get that confidence just upticked a little bit. So I think that's really where they can try to get and jumpstart Marvin Harrison Jr., the 4th overall pick, which is kind of ridiculous to say after 7 weeks. I'm not giving Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray a pass on that, but it's like, okay, the number one thing that you priority here is getting that connection going because we know we've got a pretty good idea of what the rewards are going to be.
It seems like it should be an easy fix, and I know that's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking or Tuesday morning quarterbacking in this case, armchair quarterback, whatever you want to call it. It seems like a relatively easy fix, and if they are able to fix that, if this defense can continue to play the way that they've been playing, well, the Cardinal season might not just be saved from misery. It might be turning around, and we're going to dive into that in just a second. But I want to remind you that this episode of Southwest Bias is brought to you by Branded Bills. I love Branded Bills. It's so nice when you have an ad and you're just like, you fully believe in it. The most comfortable, the most stylish hats that I have, and I wear them all the time. Every episode of Southwest Bias, I have them on. Every episode of PHNX Suns or Sun Devils, I'm like 99% of the time wearing a Branded Bills hat. It's got snapback, truckers, fitted beanies, or tees. They have you covered with not just performance, but style as well. Whether you're golfing, whether you're working out, whether you're going on a hike, whether you're just walking around and you need to block out some sun from your eyes. They have partnerships with ASU, or my favorite part is they do charity. You know this? You know they do great charity work around the Valley with, places like the University of Arizona, that they partner with charity, them. Huh? It is a charity, that football team down there. They're a local company out of Mesa, Arizona as well. They can get you custom headwear. Like we're going to get ours in here just a minute. Head to brandedbills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Felt like we kind of seen the floor for Marvin Harrison Jr. on the Cardinals so far, and it's not a pretty floor like it came from Empire today. So hopefully that turns around for MHJ, but you could turn around your flooring in your home with Empire. They're not here just to get in and out, make a quick buck, put the worst floors, and you got to get them replaced in the next 5 years. No, they're here to make sure you make the right decision, not just from a stylistic perspective, why they have their virtual floor visualizer, where you can see exactly how the floors would look in your apartment, in your home, whether you're a landlord, you're a business owner, whatever you're trying to renovate, you can see what it looks like before making that investment. Plus, they can have somebody in there making it easy, quick, and convenient, same day in-home estimate, but not guaranteeing you the lowest price, because that means they're guaranteeing you the worst floors. And you don't want that. Why would you want that? You don't, but you can save some money, and you can do that by scheduling a free in-home estimate today, and all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code PHNX. Some restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for details. So hopefully Marv is somehow a simple fix. I think what gives me some more hope and confidence is week 2. You've seen it. You've seen it happen. If he can do that, is that simply the only thing this offense needs to get into the 20s as far as points per game goes? And with this defense, that's a pretty good recipe.
Man, I mean, you're giving a lot of credit to this defense, and
they're playing well, man. They're playing well.
Outside of Justin Herbert, the Chargers have the worst collection of playmakers I've seen.
I get it, but they held them to 15 points, 13 points the week before, 23 points the week before, 14, 13, 10. The most points they've allowed in a game this season is 28. No, I'm just kidding. I read that wrong. Yeah. I'm so stupid. Sorry. Commanders. Yikes. 42.
Look,
anyway,
it's the defense is.
They're better than expected.
They are better than expected, right? I mean, look, you shut out the Lions in the second half, you shut out the Niners in the second half, and you hold the Chargers out of the end zone the entire game. That's awesome. They deserve all the flowers that they get here. But look, to answer your question, you get Marvin Harrison Jr. going and looking like a wide receiver 1, it kicks this offense into another gear, and it puts you firmly in a position to compete in any of the games remaining on your schedule. It does. It just does. I mean, from what they can do in a run standpoint, and the run game's looking pretty similar now to last year, where it was kind of where they established things with James Conner and Kyler Murray adding on top of that with his ability. I mean, that 40-yard run. What human in this world has 2 touchdowns of over 40 yards where you're pretty much kicking it into low gear. You're downshifting to save your legs because you've already beat the defense so easily. Like Kyler Murray in that run game's on point. The offensive line's playing the best Cardinals offensive line maybe's ever played. If you get that downfield passing attack going, this Arizona Cardinals offense goes to the next level, the expected level. I know it's been a sludge to it, but if they can find it, man, is it going to pay off?
You know, like when you're, making a puzzle and you're stuck because you just can't find that one piece. And then you find the one piece, you plug it in, and all of a sudden everything else makes sense afterwards.
Yeah.
And you're just clicking and you're just going. That's what it feels like Marvin Harrison Jr. is for the Arizona Cardinals, because everything just comes so naturally if you have that number one. And that's why you drafted him. That's why you took him in the top 5 of the NFL draft. It's why you stayed put. It's why you held the line, was because you knew that if you got somebody of that talent level, a surefire, clear numero uno in the pecking order when it comes to your offensive threats and offensive weapons, it makes Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing's, and the Arizona Cardinals' life easier. That's why he's there.
Right.
So if you can make that happen how it was supposed to happen, everything makes so much more sense. I love Trey McBride and Michael Wilson. They make so much more sense if MHJ is him. I love James Conner. He makes so much more sense if MHJ is what he is supposed to be. So to me, it does kind of seem like hey, you're 3-4 with Marvin Harrison Jr. not being anywhere near where he has to be.
You're not dead.
You're not dead.
You're not
and
dead.
you face the hardest part of your schedule so far.
Right.
You've gone through the gauntlet, and quite honestly, you lost a game that you didn't expect to lose against the Commanders, but you won a game.
And they're beating fraud accusations.
The Commanders are absolutely beating the fraud accusations. You got to give Cliff a year and a half to get to the fraud part. But you got to win over the 49ers, which was unexpected, right? So you kind of flip-flop that. There were some people...
And you smacked the Rams for the first time.
And you smacked the Rams. Again, you're 2-0 in the NFC West, and you're sitting here. I know some people who are predicting like 1 win or 2 wins through this point of the season so far. And then the Cardinals turn it around and go on a stretch, right? Yeah. And I hope for Drew Petzing's sake, I hope for Kyler Murray's sake, and I hope for Marv's sake that they figure it out, because while the defense isn't great, right? Yeah. I'm not like they're a good unit. Nick Rallis, Jonathon Gannon has those guys playing so much above their level that if this offense can tick it up, maybe that does push Monty to make a move. Maybe that does push them to say, hey, let's put some more chips in, because we have it figured out.
Now,
but they simply don't yet.
There's not a whole lot of sand left in that hourglass before the trade deadline.
There's not.
This upcoming game in week 8, and then the calendar is going to flip to November, and then trades, you won't have the ability to do it. So you got to make a choice. And I think Monty's going to monitor that to get back to that puzzle analogy. Yeah, oh boy. The puzzle analogy, here's the issue, and here's what it looks like. Drew Petzing's offense looks like maybe a 25, 50-piece Bluey puzzle.
Okay.
Right? Lovable Bluey that you do with your child. Marvin Harrison Jr. is coming from one like 1,000-piece puzzle, like very, next level, and you're trying to fit it in the same, like you got to get on the same page. You got to be working on the same puzzle. I think that's the disconnect. You got Drew over here, you got Kyler in the middle, and then you got Marvin Harrison Jr. You got to find a way, and it shouldn't be this hard with the talent that Marvin Harrison Jr. is. So, like what we're saying here, the opportunity is there. You survived. You got through it. Now, take advantage of it. Get your top weapon up to speed and be the offense that everybody expected from the jump.
In simple terms, figure it out. Figure it out, man. Figure it out. Whoever has to figure it out, just figure it out. Listen, we'll be following along for the rest of the Cardinals season. Of course, PHNX Cardinals is taking over Miami.
Oh, man.
This weekend.
That's right.
How exciting is that?
That's huge, especially coming off the win. Like, if we were all going to be crying in our margaritas down there in South Beach.
There are worse places to cry.
Yeah, look, 2-5, though. Now it's 3-4. Chance to squeak back to 500. First time winning back-to-back games since 2021. My God. Can you do it this time around?
Oh, my gosh, man.
Third time's a charm, right, for the Arizona Cardinals and Jonathon Gannon and Kyler Murray. So we're going to be there. You should be, too. If you're in the area, of course, we've got our tailgate. All-inclusive. Food, drink. Be there. You don't want to miss it. PHNX takes over Miami.
Go phnx.com/events as well. You can find all of our wonderful events, whether it's our Suns watch party that's going to be happening this Friday as the Suns take on the Lakers. I will be there for the First Watch Party as an official member of the PHNX Suns hosting crew. Of course, you can catch me on the Sun Show at Gila River, Wild Horse Pass. You can also catch me on PHNX Sun Devils. Of course, Bo, part of PHNX Cardinals with Johnny, Damon, Britton, Craig. Yeah, but it is the show. It's the Alpha, the Omega. It is the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Cardinals show. You can find that right here on PHNX Sports, your alpha when it comes to covering sports here in the Valley. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Make sure you rate 5 stars if you're listening to this on audio. And until later this week, where Arizona Wildcats fans, you're going to want to tune in to Thursday's edition of Southwest Bias. We'll be back later this week.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.